society. It's our mission to foster a culture of ownership and accountability through partnerships that create multiple pathways for success. Mr. Moore, please call the roll.
Okay, Colonel Stale. Here. Okay, Daniel Gray.
Here.
Ava Coleman.
Here.
Jim Moore here. Ron McDaniel. Dina Tony. Lauren Martin.
Here.
Laura Walker.
Here.
All right. Very good. If you'll join me as we stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okie doke. First thing we have is our special presentations. Dr. Ola.
Good evening, board members. I'm going to ask Dr. Janice Walker to come, and she will lead us through this special presentation.
Good evening, and thank you. I'm going to ask you to join me to make sure I can get everything going. Well, before you should have a hard copy, but you can see this on the screen as well. This is our snapshot of our school performance of our students based on the school ratings. I'm sure that many of you have already had an opportunity to look at this. I'm sure Dr. Owen has already shared it with you. But these are the ratings based upon last year's test data of our scholars. And our constituents, our leaders, everybody focused heavily on these scores. And of course, as we as leaders in Jacksonville, as we looked at the scores, that we too have concerns. We have a plan put in place, and we have for several years to increase these scores. And I was thinking back this past week, I think Dr. Owen said it best. He sent an email out to leaders, and that email said that we still have work to do, but please keep in mind that our students are growing, and they truly are. And improvement takes time, so let's continue to work on the meaningful work, and we celebrate the small increments, those small areas where we do see growth, and we celebrate that. Now, when you look at these letter grades, you might just think that it's just achievement, but there are a lot of factors that go into this letter grade, and such as graduation rate, such as community service, and attendance rate, and a few other factors. So I am going to call Dr. Picard up here, and she's going to share with you all some additional data. But we wanted you to be well informed, because we know that people in the community are asking questions, not only of us, but they're asking questions of you all as well. So we wanted to create a site, a web page that you could go to and have additional information that you could possibly share.
So I think it was last week, Dr. Ola tasked us with figuring out a way that we can keep you guys updated on our data in real time. So we meet every month as a guiding coalition, and we look at pieces of data. And this website is part of that task, the answer to that call of how can you look at our data in real time and be able to understand it easily, because it's a whole lot of spreadsheets that no one really has time to go through when you're just sitting and looking at it. So this is a live website now that will be shared with you very soon. And I'll just show you a few of the tabs that are probably most likely ones you'll want to look at. And so if you go to the ESSA score overview, it tells you what each of the scores are made up of. And it's just a quick way to look at it. For example, only 35% of the ESSA score is actually an achievement indicator. Another 35% is a growth indicator, which we always score very high on. Another 15% of the 912 one is the graduation rate, and another 15% is school quality. And if you go beside it and click on the data, it tells you what we scored in each of those. And so I'm not going to go through each one. That's why we made it for you so you have time to do that. But it tells you what the percentage is of what goes into that percentage. So like for school quality, it's student engagement, which is actually attendance, goes into that score. Reading at grade level, science achievement, growth in science, on-time credits, GPA 2.8 plus. So you can see a lot of things go into that score. And this is where you'll find that information. You'll just click on the buttons and it will help you navigate our scorecard. The other thing that you'll find on the website is our model of teaching and learning. This is what we've been building for 3 years. And until this is all in place, we're probably not going to see that grade level movement that we want to see. There's a lot of pieces to it. But the data that we're looking at every month is our foundational literacy data. And that's in the links over to the side. And that is where you'll find a much different story of the foundational work and growth that we're making on a monthly basis. So it's additional data that you can look at. And then every time that you're presented a data report, it'll be archived down in that last button, and you can look there and look back at your data. Because we know it's not something that we can explain in just a few minutes, but we want you to have full access to it. Every month during Guiding Coalition, when we look at a new piece of data, we'll put it in here for you to look at as well.
Thank you, Dr. Picard. And we hope that this site will help you one-stop shop where you can go and look at all of the items that hopefully, in case you get a question, you'll be able to answer that question or just let us know and then we can get you that information. The other part of this that I wanted you to be aware of, some of the things that Dr. Picard shared, that we as a district, we already are working on action plans to address some of that. So I wanted you to see some of our action plans as it relates to daily attendance, graduation rate, and how we're going to address community service to ensure that our scholars have the opportunity for that as well. And we also provide support to our teachers. And so these are just a list of supports and things that we do as a district to go in and support principals and teachers. And so we do have DESE coaches in our building, Department of Ed, as a part of the LARNS Act. They come out and support us along with Whipper Mills. And Dr. Picard shared this with you earlier. She just kind of skimmed over it when she shared her presentation about this is true data that we look at through the Lexia, and this gives us a great point of reference for us to see the growth of our scholars. So are there any questions? If not, we will move to our next presenters, and tonight we have Jacksonville Middle School, followed by Tiger Learning Academy. Sorry, we have to get this one scheduled.
We have a way to let them. No. Okay. So we. Okay.
Just bear with us 1 second.
While y'all are attending to that, I'm gonna do some agenda cleanup here. The legacy walk discussion, Ron had put some stuff to Dr. Owa, and he's not here. And has anybody had a chance to look at that? My suggestion is let's have a workshop on that and discuss that a little further and take that off the agenda for this evening and push it. Am I good with that? Okay. I know, I want Ron to be a part of that discussion whenever we do it, and we probably need to have a workshop, do a little better, make sure we're all prepared for it. We're getting there, I think.
All right, so good evening, board. We'll try to make this quick and brief. So I'm Kenneth Miller. I've got the privilege of serving as principal at Jacksonville Middle School. Just want to share a few celebrations for you, just looking at some data. And so, as Dr. Walker and Dr. Card shared, every year we know that all of our schools are receiving sort of measurements and we're receiving feedback as to how we performed on state assessments. And so on the left, I just want to look at one particular piece that does go into our ESSA score, and that's the HT Aspire, and just kind of highlight one of the things that we saw as a positive looking at the data this year. So one thing that we looked at is looking at our 8th grade scores in particular. We saw this year, looking at trend data, we saw about a 45% decrease in scholars that were scoring in needed support when we look at literacy data. And so we were excited to be able to see that. And looking at the trend data, we saw that looking at that class of students over time, from the time they entered Jacksonville Middle School as 6th graders to them leaving, we saw that was a change, obviously, from 62% of those scholars who were scoring in need of support and literacy to 34% in that class in the year that's gone by. So we were very excited to be able to see the progress that we were able to make, which we believe has been a combination of continual efforts over the course of the years. But the other side of that is we've seen some really great pieces out of our 8th grade team that we're super excited about. And then just another celebration there as well, that at least in one year, we saw that in 7th grade, we saw an increase in scholars who were also moving from ready to exceeding. And so we're happy to be able to see that we're making progress for our scholars that are in most need of support, but also for our scholars who are ready, that we're pushing them onward as well. So we're excited to see the progress of those scholars. Secondly, just want to take a look at one of our special populations, our English speakers of other languages. At Jackson Middle School, we have 38 scholars that are listed as active scholars who are categorized as ESOL scholars or who are receiving services. We were excited as we were looking at our data to start the year and thinking about what type of interventions that they might need, that we were able to see 15 scholars that were moving to monitoring status. That means that's 15 scholars that are showing proficiency when we look at their data on state tests, both in terms of the specific language test, but also the HT Aspire. So we're excited to be able to see that. And in particular, we're seeing 2 of them exiting the program altogether. And that requires successive years of showing proficiency. So we don't see any backsliding, so to speak, in that data. So excited about being able to see the work that's happening at certain levels and even in particular with certain groups. And so when we talk about why, what we're finding is that in particular at our 8th grade level, we saw really strong cross-curricular support. So this year, we are trying to have our different core subjects be able to create more of a cross-curricular program at 6th, 7th, and 8th, and trying to make sure that that's key. We're also seeing that obviously we've got to focus on our grade level essentials as well as a focus on critical reading and analysis and writing. That was a strength we saw at 8th grade. So our goal then is to try to say, how can we do that same thing at 7th and 6th? And then lastly, just the quality curriculum and materials. So thankful for the support of the curriculum department and all that they're doing to try to make sure that we have the tools that we need, both in terms of curriculum, but even instructional tools. So with our ESOL scholars, for instance, many of them actually have translation devices that they take into classrooms to be able to just provide an on-ramp to the instruction for some of our students who are coming to us who are at what we call a level 1, a new learner, new English speaker. So really thankful for the support of our team and Dr. Picard as well as Dr. Walker and all they're doing to make sure we have what we need. So that's just a few of our celebrations from Jacksonville Middle School.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So I'm April Carter Turner, and I'm the principal of Time Learning Academy. And Time Learning Academy is a blend of the middle school scholars and the high school scholars together. It's all alternative learning building. And so here's my data. So in looking at, I actually looked at NWEA scores for this term, and 25% of my scholars met their WIC scores, and 25 of the scholars were, an additional 25% of the scholars were less than 5 points away from meeting their WIC scores, and over 50% of our students are making positive growth in their behavior. So when students come in at the beginning of this 9 weeks, they started on red. They had to go from red to green to silver to gold. When they're in silver, they start their transition to their homeschool campus. And so as you can see, I've got some students who's already starting transitioning. So 50% of our students are making positive growth in their behavior. And we also have celebrations for those things as well. And so our teachers are teaching grade level essential standards. Our teachers are following through with holding students accountable for their learning, and our students are holding themselves accountable for their learning too. And we're working with our students to identify their areas of growth in their behavior, and they are taking it seriously because they're competitive and they want to go back to their home campus, but most importantly, they want to be their classmates as well. And so we're doing great things. You guys should come. That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes our presentation.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, next we've got our facilities update. Come on down, sir. Looks like you're solo tonight.
Yeah, I'm flying
They
solo.
just left you hanging, huh?
Apparently, I have to talk to anybody from WR today.
Well, we're going to let you handle it.
I'll handle what I can. It isn't like it. Go ahead. Give you a quick update on Biometa, Merle Taylor, and the demo. Biometa's going pretty well once we got up and get moving on. Our exterior dip is about 90% complete as of today. They still got a few areas. They're missing the truck load they brought in Friday, so they're moving that along. Roof decking started. The TPO roof has started. The exterior painting, we're about 95% on that. Classroom wings, the classroom wing on the south, don't know which one that is. No middle kindergarten, but I don't know what areas are. Our exterior dip is complete, windows are in. The mechanical plumbing and the feed rolling on, masonry finish, are getting ready to press the block filling paint. We're starting to sheet rock all the division walls, backing that out. And areas, that's the same in area 4, the kindergarten wings, are moving right along there, got one side sheet rock, getting ready to.
I think last month you had mentioned that possibly this month you might be able to tell us if we're still kind of going to make that target date.
I was working on a schedule update today. I got to get with our scheduler tomorrow and run through that. Right now, we're still trending about July. So Christmas, we'll know. For Biometa, the major contingency I have is the road, the driveway.
Highway Department.
Yeah, RSL DOT is still not giving us that information. They're working on it, Bond and WR, they're communicating with us back and forth, but I still don't have my permit from the state. So that's the big deal, and getting bigger. So part of the reason I was working on a schedule update, I'm put an X on the calendar, and I'll know if I'm gonna make it or not. Because if I don't have the driveways, there's some work that continues upon them that I can't complete. So
Understand.
I'll have that date on our next update, and if I don't have it,
I know they were requesting an easement from us to the previous landowner for some of that information. I think that's been taken care of and going to be corrected and should be good to go there.
yeah, I'm not worried about that one. We can do that whenever that's kind of off your property anyway. I have no contingency on our end date.
I don't know if they were using that.
Driveways, on your bus loop and your car parking is the major one. over and still don't have it.
Okay.
I'll get everything I need. But that's another topic we'll talk about. Probably pretty easy next time. I'll have that ready for you too.
Very good.
The go, no go at certain time. There's still some work around, so it's, we still got a little bit of time, but I'm not.
Have we enlisted the help of some of our friends at the legislature on getting an answer there?
Yes, well, I talked to, Judge Hyde a couple weeks ago, so he was supposed to be working.
Okay.
Any heads up?
We're going to Senator English, Representative Perry.
So I can reach
I
out.
would reach out to them versus Judge Hyde. I mean, we need to take high talk too, but I think some of the legislature might have a little more impact on our
Everyone's
job.
asking the question.
Yeah.
I can use all the help I can get on that one. That's a major contingency. On a maiden being not a turning over on time.
If we can help me remember and help you remember, we'll enlist some help.
I'd appreciate it. I know they're working on it, but I don't know where we're at. So you kind of give it up there.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the major topic.
Very
The building
good.
will be ready. I don't know if the site will be ready.
How's Biomeda coming?
Coming well.
Or how is Merle Taylor doing? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Merle Taylor's kind of hand in hand with us. The overall percentages are about the same within just a little bit. They're farther ahead on the side, they're farther behind on the building. But overall, they're neck and neck at the same point we are. I think we'll start finishing before them, but they'll have the site ready before us.
Gotcha.
With the DLC not included in any of the issues. They've got a few contingencies they got to work with too, but again, like I said, by Christmas, we should know in both schools if it's going to be a real go and no go. And that we got to talk to the district and find out exactly how long it's going to take the district to set up furniture and all that stuff. To see if we build an open school in office. Well, pretty much, like I said, they're about hand in hand. I go still through the whole report, but they're neck and neck. The demos, building's gone, they're pulling out site utilities, pulling out concrete, crushing it. Crushing's going a little slow. We got some concern about maybe not making that date, but if we don't make it, it's not the end of the world on that one. The crusher is moving slow. I'm gonna go out and do some evaluating tomorrow. Probably going to go run crunching numbers and see exactly where we think it's gonna be on that one. But it's moving pretty well. We get it all cleaned up. Any questions on the demo or Bobby?
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. We'll get some help on the RDOT and
I appreciate all.
rally the troops.
Yeah, but I need those permits, definitely.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. That takes care of facilities and legacy. Next item I've got here is the solar eclipse 2024. Something big's happening next year. Y'all heard about this?
If we can, we're gonna have a PPC report, so if the board does not mind, if we can make solar eclipse discussion, maybe an action item.
Okay. Well, that takes us to your report, sir.
Again, if I can ask the board's permission, I would like to yield my time to Colonel Estelle so that she can provide some updates from the airport.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Board, thank you for your time. I have two announcements. I wanted to share a story of initiative, unity, and achievement. So back in July, our Logistics Readiness Squadron had a vision to make a difference through a service project for a local school. That vision became Operation Pack Your Packs. After setting clear goals and objectives, our folks reached out to Ms. Blassingame, hopefully I said that right, and Ms. Sanders, guidance counselors for the Jacksonville School District, to identify the school that needed the most support. So on August 23rd, A-Flight, also known as our Port Dogs, officially launched Operation Pack Your Packs. Representatives from every rank level, including airmen, non-commissioned officers, and civilians participated. What began as a simple food drive quickly turned into a friendly competition within the team. Their original goal was 500 pounds of food within 30 days, but I'm thrilled to share that the drive exceeded all expectations. The team concluded on September 22nd, having collected a remarkable 1,620 pounds of non-perishable food items, which they delivered on September 28th. So Operation Pack Your Packs not only supported children in need, but also united our team, the A-Flight unit, as a team as well. And then my second announcement is a heartfelt, big, huge thank you for the partnership from you all for the upcoming air show, Thunder Over the Rock. So it is still a go. Thank you. Furlough did not go through, so it's still a go. And we're excited about seeing the Jacksonville and other scholars during our STEM Fest, which will be a great educational experience. So I look forward to seeing all of you there, October 20th to the 22nd. And that's all I have. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Awesome.
Via Colonel Estelle.
All right. I'm excited. It's been too long since we had an air show, and it's always a fun time. So, yeah. So PPC reports. We have one PPC report. Come on down. Hello, hello.
So the PPC committee met last Friday morning virtually, and we unanimously voted that it would be in the best interest of our scholars if we adjusted our calendar, and we were in school March 15th, which was the Friday right before spring break, in exchange for being out April 8th, the day of the solar eclipse, in anticipation of the traffic and the people and just all the excitement that we plan to have here in our area.
So we were out of school
March 15th.
March 15th.
Which is the Friday before spring break, and we were in school April 8th. And so after we continued to give a few updates, serious updates about traffic and possible just maneuvering around the city, we thought it would be the best interest to have our staff and scholars out of school at home on April 8th. And so we brought that to the attention of our personnel policy committee. And so our licensed PPC met and discussed possible dates.
It's a Monday.
Yeah, it's
April the 8th.
April 8th, Monday, April 8th. And our classified PPC will also meet, because this will be a change to policy because it was voted upon use the calendar last year. So we're waiting to hear classified, and so hopefully will be an action item for you all next. Could be an action item this today, or
I would say let's go ahead and make it. My suggestion is let's go ahead and make a decision, and we always change it back if we had to. But I think there was a couple of options as far as the dates, and if certified is good with March the 15th, instead of pushing it to the end of the year and making us come back. I just think for safety, security, and the responsibility of what could happen if you stare at that for too long for our kids, I'd assume them be home too. So I think it's a good idea. So we're good with changing the calendar to reflect being out on the 8th and going to school on the 15th of March. Is that a motion?
Make a motion to change the date.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Thank you very much. All right, next item we've got is a consent agenda. We've got the minutes of the September 11th, assistant superintendent's reports, and the financial reports that were in your packets. Is there anything that needs to be pulled out for discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented. Motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, very good. Next item we've got is legal transfer requests.
yes, before you have 5 requests, 2 coming into Jacksonville, North Pulaski from Pulaski County, and then 3 leaving our district, 1 going to Waldron and 2 going to Cabot School. The recommendation is to approve these legal transfers.
All right, we've got a motion to approve, or we've got a recommendation to approve. Do I hear a motion? All right, there's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Before we vote on that, is there anybody here to speak against or for those? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I've got, that passes. Next item we've got is construction bonds. Mr. Scott, come on down.
Good evening.
Evening.
My colleague Zach Bumpers is going to pass out a recap of the bond sale. I think I inundated Dr. Olaf, with all kinds of things related to the bond sale. The Fed was meeting on the day we originally had the bonds scheduled to be bid on, and we decided to get off of that date and move the bid date one day back. And in all of that, I'm not sure that you have this recap in front of you. So what I'd like to do is just kind of walk you through the bids that were received on the bond, see if the board has any questions, and then there's a motion to finalize that process. The district offered out to the market $15,365,000 worth of construction bonds. This is Series D, or the fourth bond issue from back when the voters gave us permission to start on this project several years ago. The district received 3 bids. The low bid was from Cardi and Company at 4.619992. Second place was from R.W. Baird at 4.723, and third place was from Raymond James at 4.769. Just for a note for some of you that have been on the board through this whole process, we've gotten really spoiled that the interest rates of most of the other debt has been at 3%. But back when we started this, we were using 4.5% to 5% just as our just in case rate. So A, B, and C came in much lower. Now here we are at D, the next to last piece, and we're getting back where we thought it would be. So as far as cash flow goes, we're still well within and below all the projections when we started the process. The debt payment schedule is attached, and the debt payments are just under $1 million a year. The district is scheduled to receive money on October 12th at 10 a.m. Under the transfer of funds on page 1, it spells out the transfers that will take place. The district is holding a good faith deposit of $307,300 that will be returned prior to closing in order to make all the balances work. If you have your pens out, the number that you want to circle is the last sentence. The balance of $15,007,682.60. That's the amount that you really have per project. That's the amount that the IRS is going to look to the district to say, did you spend it like you told the voters? Did you spend it within 3 years? And did all the proceeds spent for the benefit of the taxpayers? You didn't do any private activity with it. And there are a number of IRS regulations related to that. The main thing that I want to remind the board about, where we get tripped up on these things, is none of these proceeds should be spent on anything that you're going to run advertising on, like a scoreboard. If you're going to sell ads on the scoreboard, that's private business. And you can't commingle tax-exempt funds and private activity. There's been no discussion of naming either of the schools, but if you were to sell naming rights to the elementary, that would be a violation of this being a tax-exempt transaction. That being said, you have a lot of partners in the community. If you wanted to name a school, a classroom, anything in honor of someone, be it a business or a person, as long as you're doing it as a board, out of the goodwill of your hearts, that's acceptable. Because next month's board may take the name off of it. There's not a contractual relationship. So if you get to that point, let's just make sure we have the discussion before you put anybody's name on anything, because our friends at the IRS do not like that. You're going to start paying this back June 1st of 2024. First payment is $449,209. After I answer any questions the board has, I'm going to read the motion that's there at the bottom of page 1 through your minutes. I would point out the other things that are in your packet are just some coding information from Ms. Webb, a copy of your payment schedule, and then detailed reminders from the IRS that I summarized with spend the money correctly and spend it within 3 years. If you have trouble sleeping tonight, if you can get to number 21, you're doing well. Here are your 21 reminders. Also, the district is required to post certain financial information, like your audit, on a website at MSRB, so that if bond investors anywhere in the country can look up and see who's on the board, what's going on, and we do those filings for you at no charge. But it's a reminder in the packet that you have to follow those obligations and make your audit and other material financial information available. That being said, Mr. Gray, may I read the motion or do you have questions?
Any questions for Scott before he reads the motion? All
All
right.
right. The board is being asked to adopt the resolution authorizing the issuance and delivery of the $15,365,000 Jacksonville North Pulaski School District of Pulaski County, Arkansas, construction bonds, Series D, dated October 12, 2023, and other documents pertaining thereto as prepared by the Friday Aldrich & Clark Law Firm.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there a second? Got a motion and a second. Any discussion or questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Item number 2, and I know school board members love taking time to do things that just seem, I don't know, a little ridiculous. This is one of those things I get to do for you every year. The school district is required to have an annual election to present the millage to the voters, even though there is no change being proposed in the millage rate. So you're going to have an election in 2024 to ask the voters to approve the rate of tax presently being collected. If everyone votes no, then you default to the previously approved ballot, which is still in effect for the next 20-something years. So regardless of the outcome of the election, your millage will remain unchanged, but you're required to have the election. Just to make it fun, 2024 is a presidential election. You normally have your elections in May of each year, but because it's a presidential election, the primary is being held in March. You normally give 60 days notice to the voters, but because it's a presidential election, you have to give 89 days notice. So here we are in October. You're going to pass the motion, hopefully, to adopt a proposed budget for the year 25-26, run it in your newspaper, giving the voters more than 89 days in advance notice that you're not asking for a millage change. The reason you're doing it for 25-26 is the results of the March of 24 election are good, starting January 1st of 2025. Those taxes are due October of 25, which renews the 25-26 school year. So in October of 23, we'll adopt the 25-26 budget that is non-binding. Motion's on page 104 of your package, or I can read it again for Mr. Daniels. Mr. Grady's pleasure.
That would be good, Scott. Why don't you do that?
To adopt the attached proposed budget of expenditures with tax levy for fiscal year beginning July 1st of 2025 to and including June 30th, 2026, and to approve the related sample ballot.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll make the motion.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
No.
Yes. So any board members whose term would normally be elected at the May 2024 election now will be in March 2024, the same date as the presidential primary. And the date that you have to turn in your required signatures is earlier. If you look at starting on page 100 of your electronic packet, when you get down to about page 106 or 107, I've gone ahead and put the dates in there. It has some fun little graphics on it from the Secretary of State and for any board members whose terms expire in 2023.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we have anybody eligible for election in 24. We're on 25. Yeah, so
We're just trying to get out of here.
it doesn't affect any of the board members.
No.
All right, then we won't worry about it. Very good. Thank you for your time tonight.
All right, so I've got a motion on the floor and I've had it second. Any more discussion? Other than that question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously.
Very good.
Thank you very much, sir. Keep us legal. All right, virtual option extra duty stipend. Dr. Ola.
So the next two items we have brought to you each year since the pandemic, these additional duties that we've added on to current staff members. So the first item is for our virtual coordinator. She coordinates all of our virtual students as well as works with the teachers who teach in the virtual academy. This was actually supposed to be a stipend that she was paid last year, but we didn't have board approval. So it's before you for approval. And
we've got a recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Next one.
This next one is for our ESSER coordinator. He coordinates all of our ESSER funds, and you will see it reduced in the past years. The stipend was 10, this year it's 5 as we start to sunset those funds. And so the recommendation is to approve this stipend for this academic school year, FY24.
Motion to approve this stipend here for the, yes, sir.
Got a motion as recommended? And a second. Any discussion, questions? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passed unanimously. All right, now we've got the employee financial disclosure.
Yes, so this was brought to me for your approval. This employee wanted to do business with the district, and so the recommendation is to approve the financial disclosure contract.
This is just a disclosure. It doesn't
Right.
obligate the district to anything.
It does not.
Okay. All right, we have a disclosure. And is there a motion? Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion and a second, any questions or discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that passes unanimously. Now we've got the personnel report, and I think we've got an addendum. So I would entertain a motion to add the addendum to the personnel report.
Motion to add the addendum to the personnel report.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nobody's opposed. That addendum has been added. All right, now we've got our personnel report as amended. Dr. Owa, any recommendations or questions?
Recommendation to approve.
All right. Any questions or discussion would need to be held in executive session. If there's no need for that, I would entertain a motion to approve as presented. All right.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, now we've got student disciplinary action, and those should be in your folders on your device in the drive.
Mr. Gray, all of them are uncontested.
And all of those are uncontested. Thank you very much. And then in October, right?
Yes, sir.
How many are there?
Mr. Smith?
I see two. There's only two PDFs. I'll track refresh. There they are. All right, I've got board expulsion packet 1 redacted. That's the name of the PDF, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can try that. Okay. And we can do that.
Paper copies on this is not a, I know we're trying to be environmentally friendly, but sometimes.
We'll make sure.
Let's see if it'll work. All right. Student number 1, we've got a recommendation for expulsion, 2 semesters, fall 23, spring 24. Recommendation by the superintendent. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendation.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, moving on to student number 2. We've got a recommendation on student number 2 for expulsion for 2 semesters, fall 23 and spring 24. Do I hear a motion to approve as recommended? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Student number 3. All right, we've got a recommendation for student number 3 to expel for 2 semesters, fall 23, spring 24. Is there a motion?
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Student number 4. Well, all right, student number 4 is in a little different order on mine. All right, we've got a recommendation for 2 semesters of expulsion, fall of 23 and spring of 24 for student number 4. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Student number 5. Got a recommendation for 2 semesters, fall of 23 and spring of 24 for expulsion of student number 5. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Get a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Student number 6. All right, we've got a motion for 1 semester of expulsion from school, bus 2 semesters, fall 23 and spring of 24. That's the recommendation. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, I think that is all of our uncontested hearings. There are no more hearings. And the next thing I have on our agenda is adjournment. Since Ron's not here, I'll take the pleasure of moving for adjournment. We're adjourned. Thank you all very much. Good evening.
You know,